The locksmith knelt in front of June's desk for maybe 2 minutes before he stopped and looked up at me. "Mr. Briggs, have you tried opening this before?" "No," I said. "She always kept it locked. I figured I'd get to it eventually." He ran his thumb along the brass plate around the keyhole. "This isn't a standard furniture lock." Precise. The lock clicked. He slid the drawer open about an inch and then stopped. Inside, on top of everything else, was an envelope. My name on the front. June's handwriting. The locksmith stood up and took a step back. "I'd read that letter before you open anything else," he said. "I'll be in my truck. Take your time."
I should tell you about June. She was a bookkeeper for 31 years at a supply company in town. She tracked every invoice, every receipt, every decimal point. She balanced the books monthly and caught errors the accountants missed. When she came home, she ran our household the same way. Every bill filed, every bank statement reviewed, receipts in a shoebox by month. I'm a carpenter. I built things with my hands for 40 years. Cabinets, porches, staircases. I can tell you the grain of white oak from red oak by touch. But numbers were June's world. I trusted her with all of it. When she got sick, things changed. The treatments took everything out of her. She stopped going to her office. She stopped filing the receipts. I figured the exhaustion explained it. What I didn't know is that during those last 8 months, when I thought she was resting, she was working. Not on the household books, on something else entirely. She had found something in our accounts, and she was building a case. I sat at her desk and opened the envelope. The letter was 3 pages, handwritten, dated 5 months before she died. The first line said, "Walter, I'm sorry I couldn't tell you this while I was still here. I was afraid of what it would do to you, and I was afraid of what you'd do." She wrote that in January of 2023. While reviewing the quarterly statements from our retirement accounts, she noticed something. A withdrawal of $12,000 from our investment fund. She hadn't authorized it. I hadn't authorized it. The money had been moved to an account she didn't recognize. She checked the previous quarters. More withdrawals. Always between $8,000 and $15,000. Always into the same external account. Going back almost 3 years. She called the brokerage and asked for the transaction records. They told her that withdrawals were authorized by our financial advisor, who had limited power of attorney over the account. Our financial advisor was Kyle Prescott, our son-in-law. The letter continued on page 2, but I had to stop reading. Not because I was angry yet, because I was trying to remember the last time Kyle had sat at our Thanksgiving table and poured me a glass of wine and asked about my knees. It was 5 months ago. I went back to the letter.
June wrote that she didn't confront Kyle. She said she thought about it, but she knew what would happen. He would deny it. Sarah would believe him, and the evidence would disappear. "You'd want to call him right away," she wrote. "That's why I didn't tell you. You'd pick up the phone and he'd know, and once he knew, he'd cover every track. I needed time to make sure there was nothing he could erase." So she did what she did best. She tracked numbers. In the drawer beneath the letter was a ledger, black hardcover, the kind she used at the supply company. I recognized it immediately. She had bought a dozen of them over the years. I opened it. Every page was a withdrawal. Date, amount, source account, destination account. She had called the brokerage multiple times using different questions to get different pieces of information. She never asked directly about Kyle. She asked about account activity, transfer confirmations, authorization records. She built the picture one piece at a time, the way she balanced books our whole life. 47 withdrawals over 34 months. $340,000. The number was written at the bottom of the last page and underlined twice.
Beneath the ledger was a manila envelope. Inside it were printed copies of the transaction records she had requested from the brokerage. Every single one. Highlighted in yellow, with dates that matched the ledger entries. and beneath that, a small brass key. No label, no note about what it opened, just a key wrapped in a piece of paper that said, Sudbury Federal Credit Union, Box 441. June had rented a safe deposit box. I didn't know she had one. In 42 years of marriage, she had never mentioned it. I sat in her office for a long time. The locksmith was still in his truck. I could see him through the window, drinking coffee, not rushing me. I looked at the desk, at the drawers I'd walked past 1,000 times, at the lamp she always left on when she worked late, at the reading glasses she kept in the top drawer, the ones I couldn't bring myself to move. My wife had spent the last months of her life, while cancer was taking her body apart, sitting at this desk, documenting a betrayal she couldn't tell me about, because she knew me well enough to know I'd react before I had proof. She wasn't protecting Kyle. She was protecting the case against him. The locksmith knocked gently on the front door. Everything all right, Mr. Briggs? I need to go to the bank.
The woman at Sudbury Federal Credit Union looked at my ID, looked at the key, and checked the records. This box was opened in February of 2023 by June Briggs. You're listed as the secondary holder. She led me to the vault room. Box 441 was small, about the size of a shoebox. I carried it to the private viewing room and sat down. Inside, a USB drive and a sealed envelope, marked for Walter, after. I opened the envelope first. Another letter, shorter this time. Her handwriting was shakier. This one was dated 3 months before she died. By now you've read the ledger. You know the numbers. This drive has the rest. Audio recordings I made of my phone calls with the brokerage. They confirm everything. She had recorded the calls, every one of them. The brokerage representatives confirming the transactions, confirming who authorized them, confirming the destination accounts. Then the last paragraph. There's one more thing. Check the November statement carefully. Kyle listed himself as beneficiary on your life insurance policy. He changed it 18 months ago. You're still the owner, but if something happens to you, the money goes to him, not Sarah. Him. I don't know if Sarah knows. I don't think she does. My hands were not shaking when I put the letter down. They were still, completely still. The way they get when I'm cutting a mortise joint, and the margin for error is 0.
I drove home and sat at the kitchen table. The ledger, the letters, the transaction records, the USB drive, the key. All of it laid out the way June would have laid it out. Chronological, left to right. I'm a carpenter. I don't know finance. I don't understand brokerage accounts or power of attorney or beneficiary designations. But I know how to read a plan, and June had drawn me one. The ledger was the foundation, the transaction records were the framing, the recordings were the finishing work, and the beneficiary change was the nail that seals the case. She had built this the way I build a staircase, one step at a time, each one load-bearing, each one leading to the next. I called my attorney on Monday morning, Frank DeLuca, who handled our will and the house deed. I'd known him 20 years. Frank, I need you to look at something. What kind of something? The kind where my son-in-law stole $340,000 from my retirement account and my dead wife documented every transaction. Frank was quiet for 3 seconds. Bring everything. Don't tell anyone else.
Frank spent 2 hours with the material. He didn't speak for most of it. When he finished, he took off his glasses and pressed his fingers against the bridge of his nose. Walter, this is the most thorough private financial investigation I've ever seen done by a non-professional. She was a bookkeeper. She was more than a bookkeeper. He tapped the ledger. She cross-referenced every withdrawal against the brokerage confirmations. She identified the receiving accounts, she recorded the calls for verification, and she found the beneficiary change, all while undergoing chemotherapy. He paused. Did Sarah know about any of this? I don't know. June didn't say. That's going to matter. He made 2 recommendations. First, contact the state securities regulator. Kyle was a licensed financial advisor. What he did wasn't just theft, it was securities fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, and elder financial exploitation. Second,
reverse the beneficiary change on my life insurance immediately. I did that the same afternoon. Took 15 minutes on the phone. The representative asked me who the new beneficiary should be. I said my daughter Sarah, not Kyle, Sarah. That night, I sat in June's office with the lamp on. The drawer was still open. I could smell the faint trace of her hand lotion on the ledger pages. She had known she was dying, and instead of resting, instead of watching her garden or reading her novels, she sat at this desk and built me an airtight case, page by page. Because she knew I wouldn't know how to build one myself. The State Securities Board opened a formal investigation within 2 weeks. They subpoenaed Kyle's records, client accounts, transaction logs, personal bank statements. What they found was worse than what June had documented. We weren't the only ones. Kyle had been doing this to 3 other elderly clients, smaller amounts, longer timelines. People who didn't have a June Briggs reviewing their statements. People who trusted their advisor because he wore a nice suit and smiled at their grandchildren. Total across all 4 clients, $580,000. The board suspended Kyle's license immediately. The district attorney filed charges, 12 counts of securities fraud, 4 counts of elder financial exploitation, 1 count of forgery for the beneficiary change. Sarah called me on a Thursday evening. I almost didn't answer. Dad? Sarah. Kyle says it's a misunderstanding. He says the transfers were for a fund restructuring. Have you seen the statements? He says those are out of context. Sarah, your mother spent the last 8 months of her life documenting every transaction. She rented a safe deposit box to protect the evidence. She recorded phone calls with the brokerage. She found that Kyle changed the beneficiary on my life insurance to himself. The line was quiet for a long time. I didn't know about the insurance, she said. Neither did I. Your mother found it. Another silence. I could hear her breathing change. That sound a person makes when something they believed starts to collapse. I need to see what Mom left, she said. Come tomorrow. Bring nothing. Tell no one.
Sarah sat at her mother's desk the next morning. I handed her the first letter. She read it without moving. When she got to the second page, where June explained why she hadn't told me, Sarah pressed her hand over her mouth. She read the ledger. She looked at the transaction records. She listened to the first recording on the USB drive. June's voice, thin but steady, asking the brokerage representative to confirm the October withdrawal. When June's voice came through the laptop speaker, Sarah closed her eyes. She sounds so tired, she whispered. She was, but she didn't stop. Sarah read the second letter, the one about the beneficiary change. When she finished, she set it down carefully and stared at the wall for a full minute. He told me the accounts were fine, she said. Every time I asked, he said we were on track for retirement, that you and Mom were taken care of. He said it at Thanksgiving, Dad. He looked you in the eye. I know. I didn't know, she said it again, quieter. I didn't know. I believed her. June believed her too. In the first letter she had written, "Don't blame Sarah. She trusts him the way I used to trust numbers. She doesn't know what she's not seeing." Even dying, June was protecting our daughter from the fallout she knew was coming.
Kyle took a plea deal, 7 years, full restitution to all 4 families, permanent revocation of his financial license. In court, he wore the same suit he wore to our Thanksgiving dinners, same tie, same practiced posture. When the judge asked if he understood the terms, he said, "Yes, Your Honor," with the same calm voice he used to explain investment returns he'd invented. Sarah filed for divorce 3 weeks later. She didn't fight for the house, the car, or the savings. She wanted out clean. She moved into the apartment above the hardware store on Main Street. It was small and needed work. I spent 2 weekends rebuilding the kitchen cabinets. She held the boards while I cut them. We didn't talk about Kyle. We talked about the grain of the wood and whether she wanted open shelves or closed. The restitution took months. The state recovered $410,000 of the $580,000 across all 4 families. Ours came back in a wire transfer on a Wednesday afternoon, $298,000, not the full $340,000, but most of it. I donated $10,000 to the hospice where June died. I told them to use it for patients who didn't have someone sitting with them. The rest went back into the retirement account, exactly where June had tracked it coming from.
People ask me what I would have done if June had told me while she was alive. Honestly, I would have called Kyle that same night. I would have shouted. He would have denied it. The evidence would have scattered like sawdust in a crosswind, and June knew that. She knew me better than I know myself. So she did the work, alone, sick, afraid of running out of time. She sat at that desk with a ledger and a telephone, and she built a case that couldn't be dismissed or denied or explained away. She built it the way I taught her things get built. Measure twice, cut once. Make sure it holds weight. The desk is still in her office. I didn't convert the room. I put a new lamp in there, and sometimes I sit in her chair and read. The drawer stays open now. There's nothing left to hide. The locksmith, the one who told me to read the letter first, his name was Gary. He sent me a card a few months later. No explanation, just a line. I hope whatever was in that drawer brought you some peace. It didn't bring me peace. It brought me the truth, and the truth is heavier than peace, but it holds you up better. June Briggs, bookkeeper, wife, mother, the most careful woman I have ever known. She spent her last months making sure that the man who stole from us would never be able to say he didn't, and she made sure I would find it exactly when I was ready. I wasn't ready for 14 months, but she waited. She always did.